You're listening to the Water Cooler Edit with Chris and Rich.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Water Cooler Edit with my Bayut. On this episode we have a special guest, and before I tell you the topics, why don't I introduce a special guest and of course my co-host Rich as always.
Hey mate, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. And of course we have Eman here in the middle.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Of course, she's the expert of the topic that we'll be discussing today, isn't she, Rich?
We are discussing developments, real estate developments, and projects that have recently been handed over, as in are complete, right?
Yes.
What is the difference between off-plan and ready?
So off-plan is when you buy it when it's still under construction. So the unit is not ready. You can't move in, you can't go look at it. There's nothing of that sort. These are normally at a more affordable price and they're bought with payment plans. So when they're ready is obviously when it's complete, it's ready to move in. There still most likely is a payment plan there, but you can actually physically see the property, you can move in.
Okay, so off-plan is a great way to get a good deal on a property that you're looking to buy. It is a future investment, but obviously they have show houses as well, so you kind of
exactly.
see what you're getting into and what you're planning to buy. Might not always be the right size or a different shape or whatever like that. The layout might be different as well. Then it's not a shape, it's a layout, isn't it? That could be different. Whereas a ready-built property, obviously it's built, it'll be more expensive because it's completed. Yes. But it also has decent ROI as well. So there are a number of areas or neighborhoods that are now starting to boom, and it's now no longer within the cities, it's kind of out there, it's really far out there. Yep. Eman and I both have been here for a very long time, and these things are really far out, like they are far out.
Proper suburbs.
Back in the day, Sharjah was far out. Now these areas are far out, MAG,
yes.
Boulevard. That's somewhere down Dubai South, isn't it? And they've recently handed over from off-plan to ready.
Yes.
And that's actually a really nice area. I really like the buildings that they're building down there.
So I think obviously the Expo side, Dubai South, those areas are picking up. One, from an industrial perspective, a lot of offices are moving there, a lot of factories are located there. And from a commute perspective, if you're, say, Abu Dhabi based, that makes sense. The Pulse residences in Mag Boulevard have recently handed over, and this is a mixed-use development. So they have townhouses and then they have apartments as well. Also on that side, you have the Expo Golf Villas, which is from Eman. So these are obviously your 3 and 4 bed townhouses. These are more villa-based communities. So that's obviously community style living, right? So it's suburbs. I think for me personally, I remember when I was younger, I thought the Meadows was
really far out, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was super
Really?
far.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yikes.
The furthest I remember being as well was, I think it was Jebel Ali Village was the furthest out there.
No, Jebel Ali Village is still,
Yeah,
right.
that's like
Yeah.
Well,
miles away.
You must think where I mean, because I live DIP, right?
Yes,
so that would have been out in the middle of the desert, effectively.
Exactly.
So I
yeah.
thought Meadows was out in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Really?
So we had
Yikes.
gone there when it had just handed over. And it was construction everywhere and the roads were still kind of new. And I was like, Mom, where are we going? I was like, what is this? What is this
DIP
place?
still to this day for me is
Far,
really far out there.
agreed.
Really?
I think sometimes
Yikes.
if I'm going to go that far, I might as well just go to Abu Dhabi. It's that much closer. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's
It is,
not-
I suppose it is relatively, but then now because you've got like Damac Hills too, as in the artist formerly known as Akoya, right? But Dubai South as well. Like, so I mean that's arguably further, depends where you're coming from, than
Yeah,
DIP.
I think the city's
right?
kind of expanded in such a way. You have that Dubai South side, right? Which is more towards Abu Dhabi, but it's still at least on Sheikh side, more or less.
Yeah.
And then you have the other side, which is on Al Khail and even Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Road, right? The back streets, I would call it, from a longitude perspective. So you have all sorts of communities there. Ranches is one, right? Ranches is one of the first freehold communities launched here.
The ever-growing ranches.
Ever-growing ranches, yes.
Yeah.
So we had Ranches 1, now we have Ranches 2, and now handovers have begun for Ranches 3.
The trilogy.
So I've not been paying attention to what's been going on with the ranches because I just remember being Arabian Ranches 1 and that was
wasn't
it.
even one,
And
was
then-
just Ranches, right?
Exactly,
It was
and then
just-
out of nowhere there's a second one that randomly appeared, and then now 3 is being handed over, like you said. There's also some areas if you want to live closer to the ocean, Miras. They have some wonderful beachfront properties down there. Those are being handed over at the moment. Okay, they are more in the luxury segment when it comes to the budget, but they are stunning houses.
Yes, and there's a mix of villas and apartments as well. So it depends on whatever you actually want to, go for. And I think that's a popular trend that we've noticed with a lot of communities now. They have these sort of mixed-use developments, so there are apartments and there are villas. The other thing I think is also very interesting is that When it comes to smaller units, right? So when people think of villas, they think, oh, 4, 5, 6 bed, maybe mansions, family homes. What's really popular now is the 2-bed and 3-bed townhouse configuration, and that's coming up in a lot of different projects all across Dubai. So even if you're, say, in the heart of the city, somewhere on the Jumeirah side, if you're in the Dubai South area, if you're in the Damak Hills too, Damak Lagoons, all of those kind of areas, you have options like that there as well. And even what's being handed over in Arabian Ranches 3 right now are the 3 and 4 bed townhouses. These are the smaller units. And this is the first communities that are going to be handed over. So you have Sun, very aptly named.
Hey,
yeah,
Sun.
Sun, yeah. And then the next community that will follow
is rain. Rain, snow,
We don't get that here.
blizzard.
So it should be sun and moon only. We shouldn't get
so it's Sun.
clouds.
That's being handed over right now. And then towards the end of the year, it'll be Joy.
And if you live in joy, if you move into it, you feel nothing but joy all the time.
Fair enough.
That's it. You just can't.
So the one next to AC, then if they have the one called Sun, would they have one called Shade next to it as well? Would that community be cooler than the Sun one would be?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is exactly right. So you go into the shade one, you go, oh, I'm nice and cool, and you go into the sun
I
one.
think
and
we
like,
need to
oh,
get
it's
into
too hot.
we need to get into the development market,
Yes.
and we need to start naming areas and
yeah.
places that are building. We'll have sun, shades, June, July, August. So depending on the time of the year, this is when you can buy that property or
Types
you
of
can
weather,
rent it.
cloudy.
Yeah,
You know.
Blizzard has to be there 100%.
Yeah.
And all the
I
houses
think
will be
Blizzard would
white.
be a good name.
Light rain, drizzle. No, but
If we do, if we do blizzard snow, we have to include the AC though, right? The houses have to be like 1 degree centigrade.
totally freezing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big freezers
Preferably with like fake snow.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Does each
It's one of
house
them.
come with its own chiller plant? Is that how this works?
Yeah, and its own fridge freezer as well, like a walk-in one as well, like you have in the butcher shops.
Nice.
So that's why we're not developers, by the way,
But
because
Still, I like the fact that these fun names are coming
we would
about.
probably go bankrupt within a week.
I think we would, yeah. I don't think our career path is heading in that direction, I've got to be
Definitely
honest.
not.
But with Arabian Ranches, so with some of these developments we're talking about, do you, from an affordable stroke, with the real estate market being split into what we call affordable and luxury, where do some of these fall? Like Arabian Ranches 3, that would be luxury, I presume, from a price standpoint.
So from a price standpoint, yes, but the communities that are being handed over now are on the affordable side. Because
Right,
these are the
okay.
smaller units, these are the smaller bed types.
Mm-hmm.
So another super popular, affordable community is Elan in Talal Al Ghaf, which
Yeah.
has also begun handovers now. These are very similar, I would say, to the ranches in terms of the layouts and things like that are being handed over. So these are 3 and 4 bed townhouses. And later on in the year, actually, the luxury part of Talal Al Ghaf will be handed over. So
Okay.
that's called Harmony 1.
Brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. And that has 4, 5, and 6 bed villas. So these are obviously the more, mansion style, family homes. These are the luxury units. And speaking of luxury as well, apartments don't fall behind, right?
Yeah.
Dubai is obviously known as a vertical city for this reason. We have all of these skyscrapers and towers and things like that. So there are quite a few being handed over now as well.
Okay.
So Azizi Riviera, if you've seen, it's a very
That's a fantastic name. I like that.
And it's
Yeah.
and it's in the Maidan as well, so it's
Exactly. It's
5
in
minutes
Med-
from where we are, right?
Yep.
So it's beneficial for all of us.
But it's not bad
amazing
commute.
community, and they've started to really build that area up. Right, you've got schools there, you've got sport and leisure facilities. There's restaurants that have popped up.
Downtown is close by, Sheikh Zayed is close by. If you're going to any of the business districts, it makes sense. And Maidan is a very interesting area because from a location perspective, these developments are very new.
Yes.
So people would obviously want to move in, and then from a location perspective, it makes sense because it's so close to so many things. So over here, the layouts would be studio 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments.
Okay.
And at the same time, we have Maidan, but very close to it, we have MBR City. And MBR City is obviously a very luxury area. So there are quite a few things being handed over there, and in the coming years as well, that community is going to become quite
There's
massive.
an epic
as well.
mall on the way around that. The Maidan
One mall,
yeah. It's on the way, isn't it?
It's on the way, yeah. So they're going to build it as, I think, a city within a city. It's kind of going to be structured that way. The schools are already there. And the properties are coming soon. The parks, the community centers, the malls, all of those sort of facilities will come as the community develops.
Cool. Nice.
I think the last place that we're going to discuss here as well is Villanova. That's in Dubai land. Now, I think this is next to the villa community, and that's
Yes.
kind of like their expansion. Is that the correct way? Is it an expansion or is it a separate
It's
developer?
a separate development.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a similar name there. You've got the villa and then you've got Villanova. These are obviously 3, 4, 5 bedroom.
Yes.
a mix of townhouses and
And
stuff
a
like
mix
this.
of villas, a mix of architecture styles. So it depends on if you want something more modern, if you want something more Arabian, more contemporary, etc. You can kind of pick and choose.
So I have noticed that with them when you drive past. Now, obviously, they have been handed over. I've witnessed them being built from the ground up. It's refreshing to see a different design. You know,
Yes.
a different style of house. You know, not everyone's looking the same. We've got Spider-Man knocking on the window as well, if you can hear that. It's nice to see because a lot of communities here, they kind of copy and paste, right?
Cookie cutter, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Or I think what we refer to them as 2 up, 2 down, and they're all identical, glued on top of each other.
Yeah.
These ones that are in the Villanova, I've got to say, like you said, one looks like something authentic Arabian
That's
stuff,
right,
right?
yes.
Then you've got a more modern villa. Then you've got a pink house, and you've got a yellow one, you've got a blue one. And it looks to be people have added their individual touches as well. I've seen some people even add like an extra balcony area, maybe an extra unit on the outside. I know some guy's got a bunch of satellites on them already. I wonder what he's trying to channel there, what TV he's getting. But it's nice to see a difference, you know.
Bit of character. Adds a bit of character, I think.
And it adds
sometimes,
some flair to sort of a sort of long stretch of road that's you've got Global Village on your right with Falcon City of Wonders, and then on the left you have all these beautiful houses from Villanova. Rich, there is one final area or development that's been handed over.
Before we move on to that, I just have one question for Eman.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Okay, so Dubai Land.
Yes.
Right. I'm a bit sketchy about Dubai Land, as in where it actually covers, right? Because it's lots of places get referred to as Dubai Land or in Dubai Land. So it's probably just me being stupid, because that usually happens, but
Not
can
at
you
all.
shed some light on what exactly the deal is with Dubai Land, where it covers, you know?
So Dubai Land originally started off as a massive city within Dubai, right? That was the original master plan. And it was supposed to cover everything from the ranches to Expo. That whole stretch of land.
Whoa,
Everything was going to be
yikes.
a massive, massive community. And what ended up happening is that obviously it didn't go through. And each of the developments kind of became communities of their own. And
Okay.
what ended up happening is that once those developments launch and they get handed over, they kind of leave the Dubai Land subsect and they become communities of their own. So for
Right.
example, Motor City is not known as Motor City in Dubai Land, it's known as just Motor City. Same thing goes with ranches, with Mudon, with Remram,
The
with
villa?
everything. The villa, all of these,
Yeah.
everything on that have become communities of their own.
Ah.
So Villanova, now that it's begun to hand over, will most likely leave Dubai Land and just become
Villanova.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
last project that we've got here to talk about that's been handed
The
over?
last one, I know you want to hear me say this, is Madinat Jumeirah Living.
Ultra luxury, these are massive units. Obviously, it's a Dubai Properties development and it's tied to the Madinat Jumeirah hotels. So they have to be in line with that.
I like Madinat Jumeirah, so I'm interested in these properties. I can guarantee I can't afford one of these properties, but
Think about what's
if I
around
could
it.
afford, I would be interested, because I've always been fond of Madinat Jumeirah. Since I was coming here, I mean, obviously I've been here for 12 years, but we used to visit before then, and even when we first came here, it was kind of like somewhere we used to go to, because it just, I don't know, it's got a bit of a different kind of feel to it, you know? If they can transfer that kind of feel that you get at the resort and the hotels, aside from the tourist, I guess, but into the actual residential this area, I think that'd be really something to be potentially interesting.
And it's such an iconic location, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
It's
it is,
Madinat
totally.
Jumeirah, it's Sukim, it's that Jumeirah side, and I think
You've got the Burj Al Arab,
Yeah,
you've got Wild Wadi,
exactly.
you're on the iconic Jumeirah Beach Road. You know,
And what's unique about this development is that it's actually freehold. So it's the first time expats can actually buy in such an iconic location.
and like Rich said, the affordability of it.
It's, yeah.
If there's one area I'd love to live in Dubai, it's definitely Jumeirah, near the Jumeirah Beach Road.
Yeah.
Especially that
I
area.
hear
though.
you.
I have so many memories from that area. Do you remember? Wait, I think you might be too young for this actually.
Which?
Do you remember Chicago Beach Hotel?
I do. I've seen
Yes.
photos.
So if you know what the Chicago Beach Hotel is,
Yes.
comment
Are
down
they
below.
black and white?
I would love to see how many people actually know what the Chicago Beach Hotel is without giving it away.
Yes.
But before we go, obviously the city of Dubai has a rather big goal set for itself for 2040, and that is obviously the goal is to rapidly expand the
Yes.
population of the emirate,
So
and it's
on-
currently at 3.5 million.
Yes, it is.
What are they aiming for in 2040?
So the goal is 7.8 million, just for the city of Dubai.
Staggering amount. That's 100 and what? 150 2%, I think, maybe more than that. So I'm not great at maths like that. That's a big number, but that's well over a 102 or 105% increase.
And I think that makes sense why, one, so many projects are being handed over, because obviously if there are going to be an influx of people, they need places to live. And again, why the suburbs are becoming popular, because from a location perspective, you can offer a lot more. In addition to all of that, they're going to be focusing on a lot more sustainable developments, things that are environmentally friendly. So you were talking about architectural styles. We don't know what's going to come up in the future with all of the new projects that we'll be launching.
Obviously, with 7.8 million people coming to the Emirates, where are the roads? We need bigger roads. This is the most important thing, right? Please, developers, if you're listening, please build bigger roads. Build exits out of the communities, because you don't want to have to do that at a later date and cause chaos and traffic, because of course, at the beginning, there won't be a lot of people in the community, so of course, the infrastructure won't be as massive. But then if we're looking at 7.8 million people coming to the country, you're going to need 5- and 6-lane highways going through there.
And multiple exits for each community.
Look what happened to the Springs and the Meadows. You know, when my parents bought a house and then when we moved in, I think it was a 2-lane road, 2 lanes on either side, so a 4-lane road basically. Exactly. That was it. Now there's a mega highway basically going through it. You know, 6 lanes going both ways.
Very true.
Yeah, look, if you're doubling the population, then you're going to need the infrastructure to accommodate that, to sustain it. I'm sure they'll take care of that. So yeah, and talking of that, with the population increasing as it is, on the next episode we're going to be talking about.
Whoa, teaser, spoiler. What are we talking about? Sustainability. That's what we're talking about, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
We're going to be talking about
part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of is, but basically we're going to talk about properties that have recently been launched, real estate development projects that have been launched, kind of ones that have been in the news, some high-profile ones.
So these are the off-plan projects.
So there's a little sneak peek of what
we're
going
going
to
off
get
plan
next week, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going off-plan.
It's a little sneak peek of what we're going to get in the next 2 weeks. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Watercooler Edit with my Bayut. Eman, thank you so much for joining us. Rich, thank you for being my co-host as always. Of course, if you want to know any more about the subjects that we've discussed on this episode, check out the My Bayut blog, which is Bayut.com/mybayut. And don't forget to tell us in the description down below your area that you might be living in. If there's off-plan that you're looking at, or if there's property that's just being handed over, which one is the desired location for you? If you do know what the Chicago Beach Hotel is, comment down below.
You're listening to the Watercooler Edit with Chris and Rich.